Welcome to the Wellness Lab Digest, where we help you to absorb powerful, life-changing insights from top wellness experts with our daily, bite-sized wellness podcast summaries. Each episode is packed with distilled, powerful takeaways to boost your health and well-being. To support this podcast, please scroll down on whatever app you're listening on. Ratings and reviews are helpful. Even better, just send the show to a friend. Or check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page, or simply click the Support the Show link.
Ever wake up and it's like every muscle is screaming, stay put, like you're glued to the mattress?
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, we're going deep on that today. Could it be trauma hiding out in your body?
Interesting.
We're using Mel Robbins' YouTube video as a jumping off point. It's called Start Strong. Do this every morning to get out of bed, beat anxiety, and feel incredible all day.
Catchy title.
Right. And we're lucky to have an expert in somatic therapy here to help us make sense of it all.
Happy to be here.
So in the video, Mel Robbins, who's like this self-help powerhouse, right?
Yeah, she's everywhere.
She actually talks about having this intense dread in the mornings.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising to hear someone so successful talk about struggling like that.
Exactly. And she traces it back to childhood trauma, which is where the whole somatic therapy thing comes in.
Right, because trauma can get trapped in the body. Like even if your mind doesn't remember the event, clearly your body still holds on to it.
Wow, that's kind of wild.
It is. In Mel's case, that morning dread, it wasn't just laziness or anything. It was her body's way of saying, hey, something's not safe here.
And that's where the slithering technique comes in.
Yeah, have you seen it? It's what's unique.
It looks kind of funny in the video, like she's rolling out of bed and crawling to the bathroom.
Right. And that's kind of the point. Instead of fighting that heavy feeling, you just go with it.
Let gravity take over.
Exactly. You're basically bypassing your analytical mind, that part that wants to overthink everything.
Yeah.
And just letting your body lead.
So less willpower, more surrender.
I like that. It's about working with your body instead of against it. And on a deeper level, it's about calming your nervous system.
So when you wake up feeling that dread,
your body's basically in fight or flight mode. Slithering helps shift it into a calmer state.
It's like a reset button for your nervous system.
Exactly. You're using movement to communicate safety to your body.
Makes sense. But what about people who can't physically crawl or roll out of bed? Does this only work for the able-bodied?
That's a great question. The principles of somatic therapy are very adaptable. Even if you can't literally slither, you can still engage with those feelings of heaviness and tension in a gentle way.
So like maybe some gentle stretches in bed.
Absolutely. Or consciously relaxing your muscles one by one. It's all about finding what works for your body.
I have to admit, when I first heard about slithering, I was a bit skeptical.
Oh yeah, I get it. It sounds a little out there.
But I'm starting to see how even those small everyday stresses, especially in childhood, can build up and leave a mark on our nervous systems.
It's not always about big T trauma, like a car accident or something. Sometimes it's those seemingly insignificant things that get under our skin.
Right, like maybe your parents are constantly fighting, or you always felt like you had to walk on eggshells.
Those experiences can definitely create a sense of unease that lingers even into adulthood.
So someone listening might think, well, my childhood wasn't that bad, but they could still be carrying around some of that tension in their body.
Absolutely. And that's where somatic therapy can be so helpful. It's about uncovering those hidden sources of discomfort.
So less about judging our past and more about understanding how it might be showing up in our present, even in subtle ways, like morning dread.
Exactly. It's like learning to read your body's language. And once you understand what it's trying to tell you, you can start to heal.
So we're not trying to erase the past, but we are trying to make peace with it in a way that feels safe and empowering.
That's a great way to put it. It's about reclaiming that connection between mind and body and using it to create a more fulfilling life.
That's powerful stuff. I'm already feeling more aware of my body just talking about this.
That's awesome. And we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore when it comes to the mind-body connection.
I can't wait to dive deeper. But for now, we're going to take a quick break.
Sounds good. Yeah, it really is a whole new way of looking at things. Like we're so programmed to think our way out of problems.
Right. Head over heart and all that.
Exactly. But sometimes the answers are actually in our bodies.
It's like we've forgotten that our bodies are even part of the equation.
And they're holding so much wisdom. Mel Robbins slithering.
Yeah.
That's just one example of how movement can shift our emotional state.
And it doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing.
Right. No, not at all. Even tiny movements can make a difference.
Like what? Give me an example.
Just think about how your body reacts when you're stressed.
Okay, so shoulders tense up, jaw clenched.
Exactly. Shallow breathing. Maybe even holding your breath without realizing
Oh,
it.
yeah, I do that all the time.
By simply relaxing those muscles or doing some gentle stretches, you're sending a signal to your nervous system that it's okay to calm down.
It's like giving yourself a little hug from the inside out.
I love that.
Oh,
And the
wow.
best part is you can do it anywhere, anytime. No need for a gym membership or fancy equipment.
So if someone's listening and they're like, okay, I'm intrigued, but where do I actually start?
Honestly, just start by noticing your breath.
Just breathe. That's it.
Well, not just breathe, but pay attention to it. Is it shallow, deep, smooth, erratic? Just by observing it without judgment, you're already starting to calm your nervous system.
Ah, I never thought of it that way.
And if you want to take it a step further, there are tons of simple breathing exercises you can try.
Like box breathing.
Yep, that's a classic. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4.
It's like a little square you're breathing.
Exactly. It's a great way to reduce stress and bring yourself back to the present moment.
You know, I've actually started doing that throughout the day. When things get crazy at work, I just take a few box breaths, and it really helps.
It makes perfect sense. Your breath is like an anchor. It's always there with you no matter what's going on.
So it's like having a built-in reset button for your nervous system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to tap into that sense of calm whenever you need it.
This whole conversation is making me realize how much I live in my head.
It's easy to do in our fast-paced world.
We're always go, 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 thinking, thinking, thinking. But our bodies are with us every step of the way, experiencing everything right alongside us.
It's true. Our bodies are like sponges. They soak up all our experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly.
And if we don't take care of them, all that stuff can build up and create problems.
Exactly.
Okay.
So self-care isn't just about bubble baths and face masks. It's about taking care of our whole selves, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, it's about listening to what our bodies need and giving them what they need to thrive.
And one of the most powerful things about somatic therapy is that it empowers us to become active participants in our own healing.
So instead of feeling like victims of our past or our circumstances, we can actually start to reclaim our bodies and our well-being.
Exactly. It's about taking back control of your own narrative.
That's amazing. It's like we have this untapped potential within us to heal and transform.
And it all starts with listening to our bodies.
So we've talked about breathing and movement, but what about those deeper emotional wounds, ones that might be fueling that morning dread or other kinds of discomfort? How does somatic therapy address those?
That's where things get really interesting. While breathwork and movement can definitely help regulate your nervous system and release surface tension, deeper work often involves exploring those stored up emotions and traumas.
So it's not about trying to erase or forget those experiences, but finding healthy ways to process and integrate them.
Exactly. And that's where working with a qualified somatic therapist can be so valuable. They can provide a safe and supportive space for you to dive into those difficult emotions and develop coping mechanisms that work for you.
So it's about finding a practitioner who can guide you through that process in a way that feels safe and empowering.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that there are many different approaches to somatic therapy, so it's about finding one that resonates with you.
What are some examples of different approaches?
Some common modalities include somatic experiencing, Akomi sensory motor psychotherapy. They each have their own unique set of principles and techniques, but they all share a common focus on working with the body to heal and transform.
It sounds like a pretty diverse field.
It is, and that's one of the things that makes it so effective. It recognizes that each individual is unique, and their healing journey will be unique as well.
So it's about finding what works for you and honoring your own pace and process.
Exactly. And being open to exploring different modalities until you find one that feels like a good fit.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the power of the mind-body connection. It's like I'm starting to see how much wisdom my body holds and how I can tap into that wisdom to heal and transform my life.
It's a beautiful process, isn't it? And it's something we can all access regardless of our background or experience. It's about reclaiming that innate connection between mind, body, and spirit.
Speaking of reclaiming, I'm curious to learn more about how we can use movement as a tool for healing and empowerment. We've talked about slithering and gentle stretches, but what are some other ways we can incorporate movement into our lives in a way that feels supportive and nourishing?
That's a great question. And it's one that we'll delve into after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we're back and ready to get moving. Literally, we've talked about slithering and breathing, but what are some other ways we can use movement to feel better in our bodies?
Well, you know how some people say they're not a movement person?
Yeah.
I don't think that's really true.
You think everyone's a movement person deep down.
I do. It's just about finding the right kind of movement, the kind that lights you up.
Okay, so less about forcing yourself to do something you hate and more about finding what feels good.
Exactly. It could be dancing, putting on your favorite music, and just letting loose.
Oh, I love that. No judgment, just pure joy.
Exactly. Or maybe it's something more grounded, like going for a walk in nature, feeling the earth beneath your feet.
That always makes me feel more centered.
Right. And even just shaking your body can help release tension. It might sound silly, but it really works.
I'm picturing it now and I already feel lighter. But how does this actually help on a deeper level? Like, what's the science behind it?
Well, when we move our bodies, we're not just working our muscles, we're also stimulating our nervous system and releasing endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects.
So it's like a natural high.
Exactly. And expressive movement can also be a powerful way to process emotions that might be stuff in our bodies.
So it's like we're literally moving those feelings through us.
You got it. It's about giving those emotions a healthy outlet.
I'm starting to see how this all ties back to somatic therapy. Like we're using movement to tap into our body's wisdom and release what's no longer serving us.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, so for someone who's totally new to this, where do they even begin?
I'd say start by paying attention to what kinds of movement you're naturally drawn to, what feels good in your body, what brings you joy.
Like maybe you love the feeling of water on your skin, so swimming could be a good fit?
Absolutely. Or maybe you're energized by upbeat music, so dancing could be your thing.
It's like giving yourself permission to explore and play.
Exactly. And if you try something and it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay too. Just move on to something else. There's no right or wrong here.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we don't have to be movement experts to benefit from this. We can all find ways to move our bodies that feel good and help us heal.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's
Yeah.
about honoring your body and what it needs.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to how I can incorporate movement into my daily life.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of somatic therapy and the power of movement. We hope you've been inspired to reconnect with your own body's wisdom and discover the transformative power of movement. Until next time, keep listening to those whispers of truth within and move in ways that make you feel alive.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Lab Digest. If you receive value from the podcast, I have 3 asks of you. 1, share the show on social media with your friends and tag the show at the Wellness Lab Digest on Instagram. Number 2, please leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening on. And last but not least, please let me know what topics you would like us to cover in the future. You can contact me at empoweringmen.org/contact. And right now we have a free ebook to get you started on your wellness journey as well. That's empoweringmen.org/contact. To support this podcast, check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page or simply click the Support the Show link.